You've seen all the wonderful fruits we harvest from our backyard orchard. It's now time to see all those fruit trees. So let's begin the fruit trees tour. If you're not already a Patreon, please consider becoming a Patreon by visiting this link. So we have our pomegranate tree first. This is growing in a pot. This is the Ariana pomegranate tree. And this is a very interesting pomegranate variety, very different from the wonderful pomegranate tree that we had. And it's growing in this really huge 100-gallon pot, which is enough for it to grow for quite some time. We then have our triple crown blackberry. This is the same blackberry plant that we have been growing for a number of years now. Produces great tasting blackberries. And this is growing in the ground. It sends out a lot of vines, but it's not a huge plant. Moving on to the next plant, we have our dwarf Rajapuri banana plant. And we have been growing Rajapuri bananas for quite a long time. They're amazing bananas. We have a dragon fruit tree at the back. This is a red fleshed dragon fruit. We also have this regular sized blood orange tree, which is growing in a pot. And once again, this is the 100-gallon pot. We have the papaya tree. This is the solo papaya variety. The solo papaya is one of the best tasting papayas, very productive papayas. And you can see there are a few plants, one of them being the female plant, which will produce the babies. We have our tropical guava tree. This tropical guava is one of the best tasting guavas I've eaten. Green guavas with delicious pulp and very soft seeds. And this is grown in the corner to give it ample space. We then have our cardamom plants, which are growing in the ground. And cardamoms are challenging to grow, but we'll see how they grow this season. We then have the dwarf Cavendish plant. This is the dwarf Cavendish banana plant. And this banana plant doesn't grow to a large size. It grows to about 5 or 6 feet and still produces lovely bananas, the same Cavendish bananas that we get at the stores. We then have a mango tree. This is the Kesar mango tree. This is growing in this large container, one of the most delicious mangoes I've eaten, followed by the strawberry guava tree. This is a very delicious guava. And then we have the passion fruit tree. This is the Frederick passion fruit. And we have our Washington navel orange tree. Tiny tree, but still producing one orange right now. And these oranges are delicious. The Washington navel, a semi-dwarf tree, is an amazing tree. Followed by the Gwen avocado. Now for those of you who have been following my videos, we had the gem avocado in the previous home. This is a Gwen, very similar to the gem avocado. We have our moringa tree. This moringa tree has totally taken off and we just trimmed it. We also have our Kishu mandarin tree. This is once again a semi-dwarf mandarin. We also have our mulberry tree. This is the long black mulberry. And this mulberry tree grows to quite a large size. We have a plumeria tree in between there, followed by the loquat tree. You can see the loquat tree, it's bearing flowers right now. Loquats are one of the most delicious fruits I've eaten. And if you haven't tried loquats, you have been missing something. You should try it out. This is one of the most amazing tasting fruits. And crossing over from our Buddha Zen garden, on the other side we have the Parfinaka pomegranate tree. This is also one of the most amazing tasting pomegranates. In the pot we have the white sapote tree growing, and this is growing quite well. We got a huge tree to start with. And on the back we have a pineapple plant. This is the Caribbean pineapple. And right next to that we have our avocado tree. This is the dwarf avocado tree. Now this is very different than the Gwen or the gem variety. This is a super dwarf variety. And right next to that we have our grape plant. This is the waterfall grape. The waterfall grape is a very different, very unique grape variety. And we have our limes. This is the Mexican key lime tree, which is in the corner, produces lovely limes. And we have another grape plant growing inside this arbor or the trellis. And this one is the lollipop grape, which is another lovely grape variety to grow. We have our asparagus tree or asparagus plant in between. And then we have our gold nugget tangerines. This gold nugget tangerine is once again a dwarf tree. Produces lovely tangerines, as you can see here. We have a lychee tree. This is the dwarf emperor lychee tree. Lychees are very delicious as well. In case you haven't tried lychees, you should try it out. Followed by our little gem mango tree, which is producing more leaves for the next season. We have another pineapple tree right here. This is the one that's been producing a lot of pineapples. You can see a baby pineapple sucker growing there as well. And then we have our fig tree. This fig tree is growing in a large container, once again a 100-gallon container. And this is the mission fig, the black mission fig. And black mission figs are absolutely delicious. One of the most delicious fig varieties I've eaten. And if you're growing one fig variety, I highly recommend you grow this one. We also have some night blooming jasmines on the ground. And in between that, we have a bay laurel tree. The leaves are used as a spice. And we have a Nagami kumquat tree. The kumquats are also very delicious fruits, very unique fruits. They taste absolutely great. We have a tamarind tree that's growing in this large container, followed by another moringa tree. And we have our cherry tree. This is the capulin cherry. The capulin cherry is the only cherry tree that requires no chill hours, which is why it's very easy to grow this in Southern California. Followed by our Meyer lemon tree, which is a dwarf lemon. We have our pineapple guava tree. The pineapple guava tree is also more like a bush, a dwarf tree that produces very delicious fruits. We have our blueberry plant right next to it, which is not doing that well. We might move it to another place or just see some ways to grow it better. Next in the container, we have our Alfonso mango tree. The Alfonso mango is like the king of the mangoes. It's a very delicious tasting mango, and we are eagerly waiting to harvest fruits from this tree. We have a dwarf nectarine plant. This nectarine plant does grow to quite a large bush, almost like a mini tree. We have a sugarcane plant here. Sugarcanes are fun to grow, and you can easily grow sugarcanes. I'll probably have a guide for growing sugarcanes soon. And in the corner, we have our holy basil plant. Now, this first container has a sugar apple tree. The sugar apples are not so easy to grow. And we have our Mulgoba mango tree. This is a very interesting mango variety and produces extremely large mangoes. And this was grown from a seed, so it might take some time for it to establish. We also have our Arabian guava tree, followed by our dwarf sapodilla tree. The dwarf sapodillas are easy to manage and produce delicious fruit. We have our cherry moya tree that's growing in this container. I might move this to the ground later. We also have this last mango variety that we are growing in a container. This is the Dasheri mango, a very delicious mango variety that you can grow at home. On the other side, we have some trees in containers. This is a Java plum or jamun tree, which has grown quite big and still growing in this relatively small container, about a 24-gallon container. We also have our curry trees. This is one of them, which is growing in a container. So technically not a fruit, we harvest the leaves, but it's growing well in this large container. We have a black pepper tree or black pepper plant, which is growing inside the California room. This is a vining plant and grows quite well in part shade, which is why it's growing inside the California room, not in direct sun. We have more pineapple plants here in this large container. This is also in the California room. In our California room, we have a lot of plants that require partial shade and they grow quite well. You can see the pineapples have really taken off. And we have another huge Java plum tree or the jamun tree in this pot. This is almost, I would say, 15 to 20 foot tall and is growing quite well. No fruits yet, but we are eagerly awaiting fruits from this seed grown tree, which is about 8 years old. So there we have it, folks. That was our episode on the fruit tree tour. This is one of the most requested episodes, so I hope you all enjoyed it. And thanks for the suggestions on where to place the fruit trees. I think some of our viewers posted some valuable comments, after which we moved all the dwarf trees and semi-dwarf trees in the ground and planted the larger trees in 100-gallon containers. And this has worked out quite well for our garden. So thanks for all the tips and advice. And if you have any questions on growing fruit trees, or if you want to share what fruit trees you are growing, please do share that in the comments box below. And do hit that like button if you like this video. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.